Guys, let's be honest. We all know someone that smokes. Or in more recent years, someone that vapes. Look, it's a nasty habit, but it's very hard to break. And that's why you gotta check out Fume. Fume is the natural inhaler designed for a better, safer, and natural way to quit cigarettes. It's a no smoke, no vape, and no nicotine replacement for the hand-to-mouth habit of smoking. Fume handcrafts wooden inhalers and uses cores infused with plant oil studied to curb cravings. They have flavors like peppermint and conker with minty notes to simulate menthol cigarettes, and other flavors like cozy chai and lemon berry bliss for a sweeter experience. And all of the flavors are 100% natural, no harmful chemicals, no artificial flavors, and absolutely no nicotine. Last time I mentioned that my Aunt Paulette has been trying out Fume and she's loved it. I'm happy to report she's on her way to quitting. Quitting is tough, but Fume really can help. With thousands of 5-star reviews, give it a try. Head to breathefume.com/Chael. Use the promo code Chael and save 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your entire order when you head to breathefume.com/Chael. Just make sure you use the promo code Chael. Everywhere I have been. Now, that could be my local restaurant. That could be me getting gas. That could be in text message, Twitter, if you will. Everywhere I've gone, I have been getting hammered with the same topic. Khamzat Chimaev. What do you make of that? How bad is it he made weight? What should he do next? Where is it going? All these different variations. And I'm also seeing people that were irritated. For the first time ever, they were irritated with Chimaev. But golly, they're all talking about him. And what is it that we're fully upset about? That he missed weight? No, that's not what it is. That's not. If you think you need to stop me and go, well, Chael, it is. That's my problem. That was unprofessional. He should have weighed weight. That's actually not what's got you. What had you is that he missed weight and didn't care. I mean, that's where that you saw no form of an apology. You heard no form of an apology. To the fans for changing a fight, to the promotion for losing a main event, to Nate Diaz for potentially leaving him high and dry, for Kevin Holland, who's now got to step in there with a completely undefeated opponent and absolutely no training camp for said opponent. Got a lot of apologies you can throw around. You guys might remember Jon Jones. You, the audience, was very upset with Jon. Jon tests positive for steroids in the form of a picogram. So a jurisdiction where that fight was going to take place in Nevada said, no, you can't come here. You have steroids in your system. And California stepped in and goes, well, hold on a second. We actually know about picograms, and we have a different threshold. And whether that was represented or not, if you can prove that it was to the level of picogram, we will hold the fight. Okay, so this is like 2 days before bell time. If I'm wrong, it's 3. I mean, this thing's about to go down. So now, Vegas, you got to refund tickets, not to mention Vegas is a destination city. So you have people that are flying in, people that have reservations in hotels that they may not be able to get a full refund to, right? You have stuck it to our own audience. The last person, slap Dana White in the face 5 times before you stick it to Dana's audience. Paramount rule number 1, sticks it to all of them. All of the fighters then have to get sent out to California. So they're jumping planes, they're at airport, right? They're cutting weight. This isn't what they want to do, but they got to get over to a new jurisdiction, which means all new paperwork and medicals. I mean, this thing is such an inconvenience to the fighters. Now you've got a whole new building that's got to be lit on fire and filled up, which means the people at the UFC that thought they were going to go home to their families, they're now working double time. This was a mess. What do we see? We see an Instagram video made by Jon Jones, who's on a private jet being flown from Vegas to LA. And he's like dancing or smiling, but he didn't care in the least. He never apologized to anybody. And that was the problem. That is why when Jon walked out, everybody booed him. They were booing him not because of the picogram, not because of the prior steroid use. They were just booing him because of the inconvenience that we all went to for him. who's in the wrong. Whether it was a picogram or not, you took steroids, there's a picogram, it's in the wrong. You created it, and he didn't care. He didn't care that he created that. He was going to fight, and a picogram is like a drop of salt in an Olympic-sized plumbing. He came out, he gave the whole speech. He said a whole bunch of things, but he never said sorry. Now, I don't begrudge that. Now, I'm bringing those two examples together. That's actually why you're upset with Chimaev. But what is it that you wanted him to do? You think that you wanted him to apologize. That's what you're saying. I would still like him, but would you respect him? See, there's a very different thing in life. Do you want to be liked? And most people are going to tell you yes. If you ask me that question, and it's liked or respected, I'll take respected. For sure. So what is it that you wanted Chimaev to do? You wanted him to grovel? You wanted him to say sorry? Do you want him to pull himself off the card completely? Hey, this isn't right. I have not fulfilled my end. This isn't right. This isn't even my moment. Put somebody else on TV. I'm going back to Sweden. That's how disgusted I am at the fact that I came in head. I mean, what did you want him to do? Because you didn't want him to do that. That would be the exact obverse to what he did do. You're not happy with what he did do, which is not say sorry. Okay, then you must by default, right? If it's not yes, then it must be no. So I just went to the exact. You didn't want him to do that either. You want him to come somewhere in the middle. When he says he's sorry, he weakens himself. He puts a full focus on this. Oh, and by the way, he's putting his gloves on and warming up and going to go try to get a win over this guy, even though he's part in between on emotions. Oh, and by the way, it's not real. No, man, come out and show us who you are. Come out and be who you are. Are you sorry? Because if you're not sorry, don't say you're sorry. And he didn't. And he wasn't. And I really don't think if you look at this objectively, and you had a position of being an advisor to Chimaev, you get in the DeLorean and you go back in time. Friday night, Saturday morning. You're an advisor to Chimaev. What is going to serve him and his brand and his future the best? I don't think that you would be wise to come to him and tell him to begin to grovel. You've got to play the hand that you're dealt. Should Chimaev have made weight? Yeah, of course Chimaev should have made weight. If he doesn't make weight, does he need to be a baby? I mean, there's a private jet ready to take Jon Jones and his team. Should Jones say, no, hey, I don't deserve this? Let this guy have the jet since it's here and paid for. Give me your commercial tickets and I'm going to go wait in line and go do that. Is that what he should have done? Is that what you would have done realistically had you been in that same position? You see where it starts to get a little bit tough? And when people ask me about Chimaev, I feel that they're missing the story of Saturday. Nate Diaz did everything Nate Diaz said he was going to do. Nate Diaz did not want to fight Chimaev. He's never told you that he didn't want to fight Chimaev. He didn't like Chimaev's experience. He didn't like the fact that Chimaev didn't have a belt. He didn't like the fact that Chimaev wasn't ranked number one. But he was going to do it anyway. He went and trained for it. He went and prepared for it. Nate Diaz wanted out of that fight. So a number of things he could have claimed, from illness to injury. Or if Nate Diaz wanted out of that fight, he could have just showed up overweight. He didn't do any of them. He did everything he said he was going to do, and his life is very different right now. Nate Diaz woke up on Friday morning a 12-1 underdog. He woke up Saturday morning a 2-1 favorite. He woke up on Sunday morning as the most sought-after draw in martial arts. And if you miss that part of the story, I really think you're missing a good time. I do. I also think as far as it involves Chimaev, I believe if you miss a weight class, you're no longer that weight class. Now, history of the sport doesn't back me up. I don't have to go any further than Paulo Costa, who missed 185 pounds but returned at 185 pounds. Okay, Chael's not going to get his way, but I do like the concept of 185. I do like middleweight, where Chimaev is undefeated. I do like to know that his life in general, he could be more comfortable by having more calories in his system. I do like the fact that this is a young man, and we all know, as human beings, with time, we don't get smaller. And I also like to just tell the truth, which is nobody has ever cut weight for competition. You cut weight to avoid competition. That's the truth. If you're the baddest dude in the world anywhere and you want your credit, you really believe that, you're willing to take the risk. In exchange for the risk is you get the reward if it turns out you're true. That guy will go and do it at the heaviest weight he can. Floyd Mayweather didn't cut any weight, just to put in perspective for you. Every now and then he'd wake up the morning of, he'd have to go get off a pound and a half. That's true. But that's not cutting weight. That's not the same thing. Now, Floyd still had a weight class. He couldn't just go on up and take on Roy Jones. It would have been too big. So I'm not also telling you that the only belt that matters is the heavyweight championship belt. I'm not saying that. But I will tell you, in the history of competition, nobody's cut weight to get it. They do it to avoid this specific guy, or this guy's too big, or all of these guys too big, or they're too tall, or they're too strong. You know what? A lot of guys get it right. You got to come into a specific weight. But let's not put a Band-Aid on that. Let's not cover that. That's what it is. If you're cutting weight, it's not to find competition. It's to avoid competition.